Welcome to OGW Studios, and today at OGW we're doing something a little bit different. And I say today, but really it's tonight, because I am having to film these videos right now, as you can probably tell from the different lighting, at night time. It's basically because my children are on the 6-week holiday, the summer holidays, which are right now in the UK. So things will be a little bit different, but I'm still going to endeavour to bring you the same videos I was bringing you before this time. I will be changing up the scheduling of the videos after next week's video. I will be going to weekly, but I'll explain that again in next week's video. And this week we're doing a little bit of a follow-up video on one I've already done recently. The topic that we are following up is guitar picks. We did a video not too long ago about guitar pick thickness and materials and tested them on an acoustic guitar to see if there were any differences. And what we're doing today is trying the same sort of test, a little less variety of picks, just enough differences between them to hopefully find a difference in thicknesses. And we're going to do that today on an electric guitar, specifically an Ibanez RG7321. Now this is not my Ibanez RG7321 that I have done a lot of the tests on pedals on in the past. This is actually one I've acquired recently. It is in great condition. It's a 2003 model, mine's a 2002, so slight difference, but the one thing about it that's really interesting is it is completely stock. So what you can expect next week is a video on a stock RG7321, which is, like I said, in fantastic, clean, near mint condition. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick a select few picks from the thinnest to the thickest that I have, with a few different materials mixed in there, and we're going to see if there's any real difference on a nice, harsh, distorted, biting, aggressive tone. I hope that that distortion and aggression and the articulation that I can dial in with my guitar processor will yield some difference when attacking the strings with a pick. Now I'm coming across as rather stealthy with this very black guitar in very low light, but yep, RG7321, if you know, then you're lucky. If you don't know, you better start learning soon, because this is a great guitar. First thing we're going to do is we're going to test the thinnest of all of my picks, which is, I believe, this little 0.60mm Flex from Jim Dunlop. It's different because it's the Flex, it's got a lot more bend in it. I assume this is going to be a very weird feeling for me, who uses quite a thick pick for bass and a medium sized kind of pick for my guitar. So we'll give this one a try. Yeah, very weird, especially on the artificial harmonics, the pinch harmonics. Super strange feeling, just, I don't know, too bendy, too floppy, too meh for my liking. So on to the next. And the next is a 0.73mm. I'm using the big triangle one because it's the first one that I found of that size, and it's the yellow one, if you know by the colours. And yeah, I'm just going to have a jam around on this one as well now. Not terrible, but not massively my thing. So again, much like the 0.6mm, a lot of bend on the artificial harmonics, which I love artificial harmonics. The trem picking, not bad for the trem picking side of things, as it's light and skips around a bit, but I feel like it doesn't bite in enough on the string. I'm not sure if you're hearing really any difference between the two. I'm not hearing a massive amount of difference, but yeah, this is more about, I suppose I'm going to talk about the feel of them. It's difficult to translate in a video because I'm feeling them, you're not, but hey ho, it's worth a try, isn't it? So next one, which is the 0.88mm Dunlop Greeny, if you're familiar with the colours, and yep. Not bad, actually. I mean, it's probably the first from the thin ones going up that I would use. If I had to in a pinch, I would go for the 0.88mm because it's the most similar to what I use in size and thickness. But again, yeah, not bad, but nothing for me. I don't know about difference. Again, I'm going to have to just take my word for it that it feels different. And on to the next. I wanted to throw at least a couple of stubbies in, so this is the 1mm big stubby. It's a nice little red, like that. So yeah, we'll try that one out now. Weird trying to get the bite on these smoother kind of picks. They're just weird. They don't bite in as much. I'm missing the artificial harmonics a little bit if I don't really dig in on them, whereas with the standard Tortexy picks, they kind of just bite in even if you're not wholly into the wrist action. Bad. I mean, thickness is much better than the 6 or the 7.3 or even the 8, but I don't like the material. I think the slidey material for chuggy parts. I've used these on bass in the past, like a few of these materials. I actually use the 6mm, which is this kind of material on bass, and it's much smoother on a bass and much glassier and more attack. But this for a chuggy artificial harmonic riffs, I don't think I like this. But onwards. Onto the old faithful 1.14mm, but what I'm going to do first is I'm going to use the 500 Dunlop 1.14, which is a pink version of that. And get close to the camera. Yeah, that's a nice, perfect thickness for me. Has a little more bend than the purple Tortex version, and this is broken in, and I've actually, it's going to tell from the point, I've sharpened it a little bit. I do tend to do that with my picks myself. But yeah, we'll try this one first. It's a bit more rounded, different material. Shall we see what it yields? Same problem with the bite on the artificial harmonics. I noticed that a lot of people will say artificial harmonics are pretty much mostly technique, and it's like almost muscle memory. When I first started playing them, I just was listening to a lot of Pantera, and I love artificial harmonics anyway, and the dime technique for doing it is what I picked up. My old guitarist in my band and me used to play them tons, messing around, and even though I was a bass player, I used to mess around and play them with a bit of distortion on the bass. I still do now sometimes. And that's something that I kind of got known for doing in some of my other bands, was the artificial harmonics. It is technique, but I think the pick helps, and these kind of smoother, glassier picks don't work for that as well. So 1.14mm it's not bad, but not the material I would choose. I know what this one's going to be like. This is the 1.14mm Tortex Standard Purple, sharpened a little bit. for me is like a glove that fits perfectly. It's just, yeah, it's just right for me. But I'm super biased. However, I will say this is a better material for the sort of deeper digging in riffs. It feels better for harmonics. It just bites in on the harmonics perfectly. The one downside I would say of a standard Jim Dunlop is they are too rounded for me. If you like a bit more attack, sharpen them up. Rough carpet's a good way. A lot of guitar shops, they'll show you that. They will naturally kind of find their little bevels, the natural picking bevels, but sharpen them up doesn't hurt. I use a very fine file for mine, which is actually pretty cool. I've seen it used on a whetstone. I've seen people use Dremels. That was a bit extreme for my liking. Yeah, but just shaving them down with quite a fine file does the job for that. But I would recommend these wholeheartedly, but I'm biased, so yeah, my opinion don't count for much in that sense. On to the next, and that is the first of our 2mm, and that is the 500, the same material as you had the pink 1.14, the slightly deeper purple, almost blue. That's a 2mm Dunlop. We'll see how this one sounds. Not terrible. I like the thickness. I dig that. That's kind of cool, but it's just a little too thick for me when it comes to guitar. It feels slightly ungainly when I'm using it. When I grip it, when I get that first initial grip in on it, it just feels a little bit weird. And the material, again, the slippy material doesn't jive with me at all. So yeah, I'll kind of always avoid those picks where possible. I don't think we need to try a Tortex in 2mm. I've got a couple, but I mean, we kind of get the feel from that. It's more the material issue. I think we'll be fine with a Tortex in 2mm. So we'll skip that, head straight onto the 3mm. First thing I want to try is I want to try the stubby, the 3mm. It's kind of the one that everyone knows of, the stubby. Let's get a little closer. And that's like the classic stubby. So yeah, I like these for messing around. I know a lot of jazz picky enthusiasts like these. I don't like the bevel in the middle. Never like that because I don't hold my pick finger pointed. I hold it on the side, and that's kind of a deterrent for being comfortable with these picks for me. But yeah, we'll give it a try. A little bit kind of slippy in my fingers, a little bit, not much bite on the strings. I'm slouching a lot. This is, yeah, it's not my favourite. I wouldn't say it's my favourite of all of these. You know, kind of falls into the same category as the 1mm stubby, but I do really like the thickness at 3mm on a guitar. Even on electric, it's really nice. Love it on the bass. I like thicker more, as you'll see as we go on, but yeah, this is really nice for guitar as well. It's kind of controlled, and it's nice for that. I think you're going to want to do different things with this. You're not going to try and do the kind of chuggy stuff. It's probably better on an acoustic guitar, if anything, for that sort of bigger, glassier sound. So let's go on to our next 3mm. The next 3mm is my modified, you can see the modifications, you can kind of see the holes in it. This is my modified prime tone, which is made from the prime tone material. And this is a odd pick because it seems really blunt on the tip because it's got the bevels, so you don't necessarily need the point as much. And this is great on bass, but on a guitar, that's what's up. mean, it's okay. It's got the attack. It's got the right approach when it comes to playing, but for me, the material lets it down on an electric guitar. Probably really cool again, much like the 3mm. I think what we'll find with the thicker ones is they'll be really cool on acoustic probably, and would be really different on acoustic for a different approach. Maybe recording some different guitar parts. If you're layering, it might be cool to have a couple of picks even in the layering. That kind of deeper dive into different tones, subtleties can make a real difference on guitar tracks. Next one is our penultimate pick, and that is the 4.20mm prime tone green one with a grip that looks like a beer bottle, which is actually a really cool. I wish you could see it better in the light. It was better in the other video, you can see it because it's too dark. This is a cool pick, very cool pick, slightly rougher, slightly aggressive point, very cool. Hold it up a bit more, there you go, I like that. It's almost equal but not quite. I dig this pick for bass. I did plan to use this pick, like I said, for bass until that beautiful Gravity came along and ruined it for me and for this pick. But yeah, guitar. It feels weird. It just feels strange playing it. It doesn't do bad. It doesn't perform terrible at all. It just feels really odd playing with this pick on an electric. I love the grip. The grip's perfect. If anything, if I could change about the 6mm, I'd add a bit more grip, because this has perfect amount that you don't notice. If you start mishandling it, sliding, it kind of just corrects itself. So that's good. Recommend it massively for bassists, and I would recommend everyone who plays a lot of acoustic or is recording stuff with acoustic to pick one of these up, because it would be really cool to have it for a little bit of difference in your sound. Like I said, getting really micro with your tonal changes on layering of tracks can make a massive difference, especially on acoustic stuff. So on to our next one, which is the last one, and that is the beautiful, bulky, beastly Gravity 6mm. That is an absolutely awesome kind of clear blue, and everyone I've spoken to who's seen it keeps telling me it looks like a gem, and I feel like I need to name it Gem or something really cheesy like that, but I'm not gonna, so that's lame. But yeah, I've got a feeling this is going to have the same effects as the 4.20 and the 3s had, which is that it'll be really cool for acoustic, but for an electric it might just be a little bit too off. Try. It's a really percussive tone. Like, just for example, let me try this. For example, 1.14, what I'm used to, I'm going to dampen at the 3rd fret. And you can hear, I'll try and pick up some of the string noise. Actually, I'm going to turn the sound off my guitar so you just get string noise. It's a very distinctive clicking tone with the 6mm. I really hope you can pick that up, because that's so definitively different. That's so cool. I don't know if that's just the material, or if that's the thickness, but I'm really glad I picked that up. That kind of is noticeable, and I think it transfers. Let's try it with a tap in. 1.14. And now 6. Really percussive. That would be killer on acoustic. I think we discovered it sounded pretty cool on acoustic when we did the first test. So I'm glad we actually did this distortion test now. I was starting to think it was pointless after the first couple, but once you get into those jumps of difference between, so I mean, like going from 0.6mm to 0.88mm is not going to yield a lot, but we'll get to that at the end. Let's play around with this first. little clumsier on picking out the single notes when I'm trying to play kind of, if I alternate pick up and down strokes. It's not terrible, but like I said, I think this would be best suited on an acoustic, and that kind of is its sweet spot, I would say. So I started this video thinking it would be difficult to find a kind of conclusion to it, because I figured there would not be much difference because of the profile of the tone being quite aggressive, and the guitar being kind of, you know, made for that sort of distorted tone. This guitar handles clean really well, and even with the stock pickups, the clean tone's lovely on this guitar, but I just wanted to stick with the distortion today. Yeah, I was concerned there would be nothing really to yield from this test, and thought I might just be kind of wasting my time, but I feel like I found something really cool. And the main point I think I touched on earlier was that when you go from something like the, where is this? It's so small it gets lost. The 0.6mm, and then you go up to the 0.73, and then you go up to the 0.88, and then you go up to, say, a 1mm. Barring the material, there's really not that much difference in the sound. You feel the difference in the artificial harmonics especially, and I felt it when I was chugging, really digging into a riff. If you wanted to get a super chuggy shreddy tone and dig into a riff, you'd struggle with a 0.6mm unless you really like love one and you just find it's comfortable for you to get that flex. I don't. I like a bit of fight back. It needs to be a two-way thing of me hitting the strings and the strings pushing back. The 1.14mm has a very clear guitar tone to me. I've used this on acoustic, I've used this on electric, I've used this on bass, I've used this on loads of things, and I'm very happy to use one. If I have just a 1.14mm, I will make it work with any instrument you put in my hands. Then you get to something really interesting, which was when I got to sort of the 3s and the 4.20 and the 6, I started noticing a much more percussive tone, especially with the 6. And I think those dramatic differences going from 1.14 up to 6 is where you find that real difference in tone. And like I said a couple of times, and I'll reiterate this point for those in the back who aren't listening quite clear enough, I would use something like a 6mm or a 3 or a 4.20mm on acoustic on its own. It would be very cool. Although it does have a glassier, more trebly tone, you get a bit more bass response out of the strings themselves with that percussiveness. You really notice that and feel that. I think you could do some really interesting, really unusual and cool things with heavier picks layered on top of your basic BASE bass starting tone. I'm really glad we found that information in there amongst this test, because although it's always going to be a preference thing with picks, I'm always going to just say to people, err on the side of preference, and if you can, I will always advise just get loads of picks. Just buy a buttload of picks and just try them all out. You can get players packs, extra thick packs online. You can get the signature ones, which is something I do still want to do. I did say I'd do that. I didn't say I'd do this next, but this kind of came to me in a hazy daydream. And the next thing on the agenda for picks is to do some artists' signature picks and just check them out. I'm really keen to try the Hammett Dunlops and the John Petrucci ones, and I've been also keen on trying some chicken picks and some V picks and just seeing how they feel, just for a bit of a kind of mess around. And why not make a video around it, and it might inspire some people to go out and check them out themselves, and then hopefully someone from those companies will come and sponsor me and give me free stuff and money. But enough about my plans for world domination. I'm going to crack on with the conclusion of this video. Yeah, picks, check them out, try them out, see what you think, and let me know in the comments if there's anything that stood out to you from my tests or something you've tested at home. I'd love to see. If you've got any other videos, people trying out picks and stuff, please send them my way. I always like to see these sort of things. I like to nerd out over gear, even down to the minutiae, and the little things are very important for me. We will be back next Sunday, regular time and regular place, and from after that we will be 2 weekly, but I'll address that in that video, so don't worry about that. It's not important right now. And if you like the video, please do drop us a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That always helps. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies family, and just tell everyone you can to check us out. We really appreciate that. Check out the links at the end of the video. We've got social media, we've got music links to my solo musical project, and I'm hopefully going to have some new music coming in the near future. And yeah, just check everything OGW out, and let us know what you think of the shows in the comments, like we said already, and just also give us some general comments. Feedback is always welcome here. We really want to help the channel grow, and I think that will be facilitated massively by your input out there watching these videos. And as always, take it easy and take care.